Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cole Myrick Ski Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Myrick, and today I'm joined by one of the top American cross-country skiers of the last decade, Kevin Bolger. Kevin grew up in Minocqua, Wisconsin, and worked his way from racing in the Midwest to competing on the World Cup, representing Team USA at World Championships and racing against the best skiers in the world, even on the Olympic stage. In this conversation, we will talk about his journey through the sport, how his training and mindset evolved over the years, and what it's like racing on the World Cup circuit, and also some advice that he gives to younger athletes hoping to follow a similar path. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, and here is my interview with Kevin Bolger. I hope you enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to another YouTube vlog and podcast interview for the Cole Myrick Ski channel. This week, I am lucky enough to sit down with a Wisconsin native skier, but a U.S. skier too, Kevin Bolger. Kevin, how's it going?
What's up, Cole? It's going well. Psyched to be here. Thanks for having me. Wisconsin representing, as always. Love it.
So what's been going on in your life recently in your training?
Not much. I mean, kind of basic, easy, just kind of starting to smash the pavement, smash some hours. July's coming in hot, so it's like yeah, now that the fire's kind of burning and the hours and everything's under the legs, it's like time to start going a bit more, which is exciting.
Where are you coming from?
Maya and I were just in Sweden for a little bit, but now we are in Norway, in Trondheim.
Cool. So the first question I typically ask is, where are you from and how did you get into cross-country skiing?
Yeah. Born and bred, Minocqua, Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, for those who don't know. And I got into skiing because of my older brother. Um, I was in third grade, if I remember when I joined. And I mean, I don't know. I think anyone who has older siblings, whatever they do, you somewhat tend to follow in their footsteps. So that's what I did. And for anyone else who doesn't really know, northern Wisconsin in the winter, you can either snowmobile, ice fish, or drink. And and then when cross country skiing kind of came into it, yeah, that's where I leaned into it, and from there it just kind of took off.
Did you get started, did you race middle school or did you jump in high school?
No, I jumped in, yeah, so third grade, kind of just like a junior program, and it wasn't even really tied to school. It was just like a club at that point. And even in through high school, high school, it was just a kind of a recognized club sport, but not an actual sport with the team, if that kind of makes sense.
Were you with
Um,
Lakeland?
yeah, so it was Lakeland, and I think now it's actually like a recognized sport. But like for sure, when my brother was skiing, and I think when I was coming through, like we would get like varsity letters and stuff, but the school just kind of like recognized us. It wasn't. From
Yeah,
what I
that's
remember,
kind of what it's
nothing
like in
totally.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's more like my club team was a bunch of different high school student athletes racing for the same club in kind of a central area to all the schools. So I think it's similar up there too. But it's very
Yeah.
cool to see how it's changed over time. So what was your high school career like, and what was, Wisconsin North Ski League then and Lakeland club team then compared to more recent?
It was good. I mean, I kind of hit the ground running. Like when I joined when I was in third grade, like things kind of clicked. I mean, we grew up alpine skiing. We would always go up to the UP. There's some small hills up there. We call it garbage piles. The chairlift takes longer to go up than it does to ski down, but I don't know. So when I got on snow when I was in third grade, I guess I feel like for some skiers, like they're always like, "Oh, I started skiing when I was 2 years old." It was my first pair of Nordic skis, but a little bit later for me. But um, yeah, things kind of clicked, and I was just good for at least in the area, um, which was, I don't know, motivating. I guess when you're a young kid and you're just kind of kicking butt, it just feels good. I had a few like nemesises, one from Hayward, Dylan McGarthwaite, and there were some boys from Wausau as well that we were always battling kind of, we all came up through middle school and high school together, which was really fun. But yeah, it was good. I mean, I won state my junior and senior year of high school, and Went over to Minnesota and raced a little bit. They have like the Masabi Invite, which I think then, I don't know if it still is now, was like one of the largest junior races in the country. Um, and I won that, and that was awesome. But when I started to think about like doing junior nationals and doing those qualifiers, that's things shifted a little bit for me. I went over to Minnesota, Trollhagen, trying to qualify, and I just got my butt whooped. And
Yeah.
reality sunk in a little bit.
Yeah, where were you racing in Wisconsin in high school, like for the Wisconsin circuit?
So we raced a lot in Rhinelander, Wausau. Let's see where else did we travel around to.
You
Um,
didn't come any further south than Wausau?
I don't think so. Not that I can remember. We used to go race. I don't know if it's still there, but it was a conservative school.
Okay.
I don't think it's still there. It used to be like this private school out in the woods. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm guessing we traveled to a lot more places than Rhinelander and Wausau, but those are the two that really stick in my brain. Yeah, Hayward, of course. Um, but the hardest part is I'm just so old now. It seems like such a long time ago. So maybe it's just my memory is getting foggy.
When did you start getting on the junior national qualifier scene? And well, I mean, JQs now are, I assume, very different from when you were racing them. So what was the experience like then?
I didn't try making my first junior national team until, God, I think it was my second year, J2 year, if I remember correctly. And I didn't make the team. Yeah, like I said, I went over to a qualifier. It was a sprint and over in Minnesota, and I just got my ass whooped. Um, and I remember it being a really cold day. At the time, I just like hopped in the car. I didn't think much of it. And actually, my dad came in the car, and I was just kind of like cheesing, trying to get warm, and not so worried about a bad performance. And he kind of leaned into me a little bit, um, which made me, yeah, it was a reality check. And if I was going to pursue this, it was like, yeah, yeah, just reality check. But after that, it got better. I actually started training with a team in the summers out of the Twin Cities, Nordic Works, and I would go over there in the summer once a week, about for like 2 days, do some sessions, and then go back to Managua. And that tied in with also playing like summer competitive, like a soccer league as well. Made for some pretty busy summers, but I knew skiing was something I really wanted to do. Um, so it was kind of like the sacrifice that I was willing to make at that time. But I wasn't like willing to give up soccer because I really, really enjoyed soccer.
So yeah, what other high school sports did you play, or did you play only skiing and soccer?
I did track my freshman year, but then after that, it was just skiing and soccer. I remember going to an REG camp in Hayward one summer, and I don't know who was speaking, but I remember them saying like, yeah, if you want to be a skier, if you want to be dedicated, you want this to be your life, like you only need to be a skier. That's 100% of like your effort needs to go into skiing. And I was just kind of like, nah, that's not like, yeah, I want to be a skier, but like I'm not willing to give up soccer yet.
Right.
Um, and I'm super glad I didn't. I mean, I'm so happy I played soccer all 4 years in high school.
So did you qualify for a Jane strip at all in high school, or
Yeah, I did my God, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was my first J2 year. I didn't qualify. It was my second year as a J2 I qualified. Um, and that was out in Lake Tahoe, I think. Because then I know I qualified both J1 years and an OJ year, I think. But so yeah, I would have qualified once in high school, but that was it.
so for the audience that doesn't know, like now it's U16, U18, U20. What do you mean by J2, J1, JO?
J2, God, I mean, that's a really good, how do I even describe it? It was like, I don't even know what age group it would have been. J2, each junior year, you have like J2, you have 2 years as a J2, 2 years as a J1, and then 2 years as an OJ. And I think when you're a J1 and an OJ, what I'm calling it, I think is similar to U18 trip and U23s. And I never qualified for either of those trips ever. Um, Always missed out on the U18s and then U23s. So I was always skiing junior national um, every spring.
Nice. What were all the venues that you went to for JNs?
Lake Tahoe was my first one. Never forget that. It was like my first real experience racing at altitude. It was terrible, super fun, but terrible. And then my J1 years would have been Salt Lake, Soldier Hollow 1 year. Um, I think out in Rumford, Maine, another year. And then my last year would have been, I don't think I did any up in Alaska. I don't remember.
Oh,
And that's maybe bad, but I mean, it's like thinking that it really hit me this year at like spring series when I was looking at the result list and I saw like everyone was like senior, senior, and then like next to me was an M1. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a master. Like I'm an old guy. This
how
is
old
crazy.
are you?
I just turned 33 in April.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
So
this is like trying to go through the archives, thinking about your junior years.
a little bit, yeah. Yeah.
So what was your recruitment process like? I know you skied for University of Utah. What was your experience like over there?
Yeah, it was pretty, I mean, after high school, the coach I was working with out of Minneapolis, Dino Johnson, he was kind of pushing for gap years for me to take. Just don't go to college yet. Like all these, I wanted to go west. I knew that. And he was always like, yeah, if you go west, like the Western schools pull in all these Europeans that are 20, 21, 22, much older, much faster, stronger, and you're this young 18-year-old that barely has hit puberty yet, and you're trying to go ski at, some big schools. Like it's maybe not worth it. And um, I looked a little bit at skiing, like at Northern Michigan after my senior year, but somehow my parents were okay with me taking a gap year. So then I moved out to Sun Valley, Idaho, and just trained out there for a year on their postgraduate program under Chris Mallory, which was super fun. And that year went really well, and recruitment starting to think about college again. And maybe I was a little bit lazy in reaching out to schools or slow or whatever you want to call it. But I ended up taking a second year off, which somehow my parents were supportive of again. And that's when, after that year, is when I pretty much only really talked to Utah. I had a little bit of offer from Boulder and MSU, but I was pretty set on going to Utah. And I think a lot of it was just me. I didn't really have like those schools didn't care about me being a state champion in Wisconsin or some junior qualify. I mean, they were looking at skiers in Europe that are, pulling results that are, near misses on World Cups for some of these guys. So it was me just like firing off email after email after email, just really being like an annoying mosquito to these college coaches until Utah finally actually like offered me a spot. And I didn't even talk about it with my parents. They like, Utah called me. They're like, yeah, we have a spot. If you want it, it's yours. I'm like, yep, I want it. I'll take it. Like, right, sign me up. And then I called my parents. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Utah. They're like, what? Don't you want to talk about this? I was like, nope, I'm going to Utah. They offered me a spot. I got to take it. I can't turn it down.
So what was your racing and career like then post 2 year gap year? Because you had to have been 20 or 21 your freshman year of college.
No, my freshman year of college was 20. See, I graduated high school in 2011, took 2 years off. So I was like 2015, 2016 was my first year.
Okay.
11, 12, 13, 14, yeah, 16, 17 maybe. Um, so it was, I mean, it was fun. I mean, I was an old freshman, living up in the dorms, but it was super fun. Definitely intimidating because, I had a lot of teammates that were from Sweden, Norway. Um, but yeah, it was good. I mean, I had came in on zero scholarship. I think I got my books covered, which, everyone knows how expensive books are. So that was sweet. Um, and kind of the goal was just to solidify a spot on the team and hopefully make NCAAs, make that squad and race because, they take three guys, three girls. And um, yeah, went really great, went really great. Had good results my freshman year. Actually, Utah hosted the NCAA championships that year, so I was like super psyched to make that team. Um, then we got our asses kicked, and I think we finished like fifth, which was depressing, but it is what it is. And sophomore year was good, like just kind of kept progressing, and each year my results got better. My scholarship got a little bit better and better every year. And it was fun. I mean, I think it's tough because we I don't know, we think about all these Europeans coming over and taking spots away from people, but the way I looked at it was like, how can this make me a better skier and what can I learn from these guys to be better? So I thought it was a really cool tool to lean into those guys and get better and get faster and stronger. And of course, like the program out there was super, super good at the time, and the support was really good. And I mean, almost comparatively better than being on the national team, like in terms of resources and everything. Like it was disgusting. And it just got better and better every year.
Yeah, and as you transitioned from junior racing in high school to then taking two gap years and then racing collegiately, do you think that transition was better with your two gap years? Would you recommend taking at least a gap year for high school athletes that are going to go trying to ski in college? Or what would your advice be?
I mean, it's hard to say. I think everyone is so what's right and what's wrong for you, for me, for someone else. It's so different. And everyone's path is different. But I think for me at the time, it was awesome. It was really good. I think the sport has changed a bit, where um, younger guys in high school, I mean, there's just way more information in terms of what people are doing training wise. I think there's a lot more guessing back then, what was right, what was wrong, especially in the US. I think there was pipelines and such, but I think if you can do it and it's something you want to do and something you're into, I think taking a gap year could be great. I mean, exactly like I said, like a lot of us come out of high school at 18, and then there's a lot of these foreigners coming over from Europe that are much older, um, bigger, faster, stronger. So I think there is something to be said there. But yeah, I think it depends who you are, what you want, where you're trying to go.
Do you think your transition was better from that junior level to the college level with those 2 years?
I think so. I think it helped. I mean, for sure. I mean, I think you look at just development in terms of year to year and training and hours you're able to accumulate and everything. So it definitely helped me. Could I have gone to Utah after my senior year of high school? Probably not. Probably not. But I don't know. I'll never know, I guess. But
Right.
I don't think so. I don't think I probably would have had the career I had without those decisions.
So for the younger audience, the high school, college age range, what are a few things you learned from your, I guess, gap year experience in your college and high school experience that you wish you knew sooner?
I don't know. I mean, you learn as you go. And I think that's what's so fun about this sport, is like it's like kind of like I don't know, a math equation. You have one step and you kind of work your way down to find the answer. And I I don't know if there'd be one specific thing that I would say is right or wrong, or I wish I would have done this differently, or I wish I would have done that differently, because you do that game and can go down a rabbit hole. And but I think it's just kind of going back to what I said when I had that one coach say, like, if you want to be a skier, you need to stick with this. I think the biggest advice would just be to do what you want to do. I don't know. It's so hard to kind of like really fixate on one thing.
Yeah. I mean, my high school coach, I talked with Elena a little bit about this in the previous episode, but my high school coach was very big on doing other sports in high school and running cross country and even running track because it keeps you competitive in other sports and other scenarios, situations that will help prep you for the race season. Like the example I said with Elena with my club coach was that if we finish racing in the end of February, early March, you don't get into that competitive mindset again until December. So racing cross country in the fall in a like it's going to be a hard effort. It's going to be a hard race. Will get you back into that mindset. So I think that's some great advice.
No, I think it's so good. I think you see the one sport athletes burning out and doing all those other things keeps the body going and helps develop, whether it's sprinting or long distance or whatever. It's just like everything is a piece of the puzzle, and the more you can do, I think the better.
So continue to build off of touching on your college career. I know you were at least a one-time, maybe two-time All-American. What was some of those experiences like with Utah?
It was fun. Yeah, that's a good question. I think I was two-time, which would have liked to be more, of course, but super fun. I mean, I it's just coming off of a like being in a part of a really competitive team and just being able to go to NCAA's was super sweet. But the hardest part was my senior year. Um, I was like having an awesome season. I didn't finish off the podium once, all the way through regionals. Like everything was going really well. Just like kind of the for NCAA's was going to be like perfect, like the perfect season. But then racing at regionals in Alaska, I got really bad frostbite
Mm.
and just destroyed both my hands in a 20K skate. So then I was just like sidelined for like 4 weeks going into the championships, which sucked. But luckily I was able to still race and compete. I think that was when I got like 10th and it was my second All-American, but I didn't get one of the cool trophies. Damn it. But we ended up winning, which was like a perfect way to finish like my senior year at Utah. And like breaking, I think it was like a 17-year um, drought for the team.
Wow.
So like to come in as a freshman, kind of have the progression of like just getting faster and faster and faster to being like the team captain my senior year and having like being named RIMSA skier of the year and all that stuff. Like it was awesome, but like to be able to capitalize and win the whole thing with all those like freshmen to seniors, that team was like that was pretty special, like in a really cool way to cap it all off.
So what was your how far after college were you before you earned a World Cup start? What was your debut like?
So graduated from Utah and I went back to Sun Valley. At this time, I don't believe there was a club, a pro team in the Midwest. So yeah, went back to Sun Valley, joined their gold team, and it kind of was that first winter. The super tours were going great. Ended up being winning, or no, it was my senior year of college. I won my first U.S. national championship, and then afterwards, super tours were going great. Qualified for the COC after, which would have been Pyeongchang Olympics. So it was like the last period of World Cup. Qualified to go over and race. And the first race was in Lahti, Finland, which was super exciting for me at the time. Now that I look at Lahti, Finland, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But then I was super pumped to go there. I remember getting there early, rooming with Reese Hanneman, an old skier. He's been retired now for a few years, but we roomed together. The team came from the Olympics, and I remember everyone just being so jet lagged, and I was like this super energetic little puppy, like first World Cup, super pumped, super psyched, no idea what's going on, kind of running around with my head like a chicken with his head cut off, just psyched. And it was a skate sprint was the first race, and I probably had like bib 60 or something in the qualifier, and just yeah, went for it. I remember Reese, my roommate who I was rooming with at the time, he started just a few bibs ahead of me, and I crossed the finish line, and I just heard like he just looked at me, he's like, "Dude, you're 16th." And I was like, "Who the hell is this guy talking to?" And he's like, "You." And I'm like, "What do you mean you?" Like I had no idea what he was talking about, and I qualified 16th, and I just like I couldn't believe it. It was yeah, pretty emotional actually. Like my brother was there watching, which was really cool. And we had a foreign exchange student stay with us when I was in high school from Finland, and he was there watching, and like yeah, it was just like really cool. But then again, I saw like just no idea what was going on. Like try to like leave the finish area, and I was like, giving my bib away, and they're like, "No, no, you get to keep it." And I was like, "I get to keep the bib? Sweet! Like this is awesome! Like wow, I get to keep a bib." And just like, yeah, meeting with the wax tech that I've been working with at the time, he was fired up, some Estonian guy, and um, yeah, it's just such a wild experience. And then running out, heat selection, no idea what was going on then. Even just, I think Matt Wickham was just like, "Yeah, go push a button," and I was like, "All right, sounds good. Like, doesn't really matter. I have no idea what's going on." And I took a heat with Johannes, uh, Pellegrino. Uh,
Oof.
Yeah, like both guys that like just came off like winning medals at the Olympics, and I'm like running out to the start line, just like silver medal behind me, gold medal in front of me. I was like, all right, sick. Um, and then no, that was my semifinal because I qualified as a lucky loser in my quarterfinal, which was also crazy. So I finished the day on 11th in my debut, which was like I couldn't believe it. Couldn't get like have gone any better.
So since then, you've raced a lot more World Cup starts and a lot of other venues and a lot of other distances and stuff. What are some of your favorite venues, races, or stories from your World Cup career?
Some favorite venues are, I feel like typically everyone kind of says the same, like Davos. Super fun in the mountains. We come off of racing in dark Scandinavia and we go to sunny Alps. Like it's always just super nice. But then it's like you kind of reflect on where you've like had the most success. So like Lahti is like one of my favorite places because of that debut, and I've had good races there since. It's just been a place that's been good to me. So I enjoy racing there. But now like we spend more time in Falun. It's where Maya's from, and that place it's kind of slowly starting to feel a little bit more like home. And with World Champs there being there next year, it's like, yeah, that place has grown on me, and excited to like throw down and have a really good race there, and or hopefully qualify and have a good race there. Um, so that place is super fun, but it's hard. I mean, been to a lot of different places in the world and raced in a lot of different venues, and um, they're all unique. They're all special. Um, I don't think there's really any I don't like, just because they're all, yeah, so cool. And you know that there's probably places you would never go to in your entire life if it wasn't for it. So you just kind of embrace it and love it.
What was the most like nervous for a race? Was it an Olympics or World Championships? Was it your first World Cup start? What was the most nervous you've been?
It's definitely probably my first Olympic start in Beijing. Yeah, it was. I remember making like a promise to my grandma. She was like, "If you don't make the Olympics before I die, I'm gonna haunt you." And I was like, "All right, Jesus, that's tough. That's harsh. Like I don't need that on me." And yeah, she ended up passing away before I made the Olympics. So I was kind of like, all right, I'm here. Like, this is cool. This means something. And I don't know, just like that culmination of everyone that has ever supported you and put something into you. Like, when I just remember standing on that line and I was like emotionally super just fired up. Like, yeah, it was nervous, but I was pumped, and it was just such a I can't even. yeah, I can feel it, but it's so hard to explain because it was so special. Um, so that was definitely probably the most nervous and but excited I've ever been in my life.
What is it like? Because you've been a part of a couple years of World Championships, U.S. teams. So your first Olympics in Beijing, but also these other World Championship teams. What is that like?
Yeah, I mean it's of course like the aura of the Olympic rings holds something pretty special. But being part of, I think four World Championship teams, maybe five, is also, I mean, it's you don't have the rings, but it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same quotas for all the race starts. So it's almost just as cool. You're still representing and like my first world champs, was just it's kind of hard to even wrap my head around. And then I look back to my last world champs here in Trondheim, like just the progression and be able to say that I've been to so many and how fortunate and lucky I am. That's really cool. But it's a it's just a cool feeling. I don't know. I don't know. Hard to say.
Does I know the Olympics, like you said, is a different aura to it, and it's obviously a much bigger stage. But do World Championships feel any different than normal World Cup starts?
For sure. I mean, like there's still like this like you go to the Olympics and you get like these you get all the gear, you get all the hoopla, and you get a little bit of that with world champs. And I think that's what kind of separates that the feeling between a World Cup and a World Championship race. Um, so that I mean it's not just about the stuff you get, but obviously, I mean it helps. I mean, we all do this for the swag, let's be honest. And but yeah, I think there's definitely it's just like that pressure that comes with, when you have to qualify for a team. It's
Right.
just that extra step that you need to really kind of lock in and make sure things are going the right way and the path you're taking in your training and the decisions you make and what races you're going to do, and so all that little stuff makes, racing at that week that much more kind of nerve-wracking in a different way.
So, at what point in your career did you come back to the Midwest to, at the time, rejoin the club that had started in the Twin Cities, Team Berkey, now, as of recent, is now Snow Racing? What was your
Yeah.
experience like going back to them, and when did you join them?
It would have been my fourth year now with snow racing team, which was Team Berkey. Yeah, I mean, I'd been with Sun Valley for so long, and I think for a while you feel like you have allegiance to a certain team. And I wasn't making it back to Sun Valley. Like I'd come home to the US, and I would go to Wisconsin. I'd go home and then to go out to altitude if I was just like, yeah, I wasn't really super excited about it. So then Chad, Samla, and Yuri reached out and just like floated the idea about like joining Team Berkey. Um, Zach was obviously there, and program was still decently fresh and new. Um, but it just seemed like such a perfect fit. Like, I mean, obviously my life has transitioned more and more Scandinavian based now that I'm together with Maya. And luckily, like Team Berkey was super supportive of that and they understood. And um, so now when I'm home in Wisconsin, like I have what is a support system. And that's what I was looking for. And it was an easy kind of decision also because I think about all the support I'd ever gotten in terms of like fundraising to support World Cup seasons or travel. It's like always come Midwest based. So that's the community that's always supported me and the community that I've always felt like I've actually truly been racing for. So I was super psyched to come back and join the team. And I mean, that's kind of where it all started for me. So it only felt right to kind of finish it there too.
And did you spend that first year that you came back to Team Berkey? Did you spend that summer there and training in the Midwest area again?
Not the full summer. I came back. I was there for a bit and I lived with Zach and his now wife, Julie, for a few weeks here and there. And then we would go to Cable, do that camp, and um, then I would come back and be with Maya for the summer. And there was always like visa issues and stuff for a while, kind of balancing, juggling the 90 days and all that stuff. And then you spend a whole winter. So kind of playing that fiddle the right way, trying to figure out how to maximize. But knowing that I had like that support system back in the Midwest was like made it so easy for me to want to be there more. But
So, kind of building off of that, you've been with Maya for a while now. What is kind of that story with you guys, and what's it like living over in the Scandinavian part of the world?
it's funny. I was telling her that I was doing this today, and that he had sent me some questions, and I'm like, yeah, but he butchered one question in here.
Hmm.
And she was like, what? And I'm like, ah, he said that we're married. And she's like, and it's like, yeah, yeah, something that she's been yapping at me for the last like 2 years. So it made me laugh. It was really funny.
That's on me. I did not realize that you guys weren't. I don't know. I feel like I've seen you guys on social media for a long time. I was like, oh, I mean, they're probably so that's on me for not doing enough research. But
No, it was funny. I got a good laugh and she got a good laugh. And but we've been together, I think 5 years now. And we met like kind of probably like the worst, hardest time of ever to meet, peak COVID. Um, and we met on, I was gonna do some fake story where she followed me around like some World Cup venue for a while, hunting for my number. But I found her on Tinder and I swiped right. And I remember I was in Ruka, and I didn't think I was just lounging in my room. And then all of a sudden, like it, got the notification that we matched, and I was like, oh my God, Logan, to Logan Hanneman, who I was rooming with. I'm like, look, I matched with my dog. This is crazy. This is crazy. And but it was like, yeah, I mean, it was peak COVID, so it was like also like, what the hell are we gonna do? This kind of also sucks. And but luckily, I had a Swedish teammate in college, and through one of his friends that I got to know pretty well, we kind of had a mutual friend in Maya. And she was also on the World Cup skiing for Sweden. So I reached out to her, kind of was like, yo, you want to help me out with this a little bit? So then she was trying to help me out a little bit, be a good wing girl, wingman. And she pulled her weight, and um, yeah, it was sweet. I mean, we actually didn't even meet in Ruka. We just texted for a while. Then Sweden actually bailed on the World Cup after Ruka because of COVID. So we didn't actually meet until the tour, which was like after Christmas. So we just like Snapchatted and texted for like a month, blossoming into this beautiful 5 year relationship then. And so it was a fun, unique way to meet, and also challenging because we weren't really supposed to be meeting. And it's super fun because like for us US skiers over here, like we get zero media, like nothing. There's
yeah,
like, but then for like the Swedes, they're like rock stars, they're getting everything. And we met at World Champs that winter in Oberstdorf, and I just like saw her in a stadium. So I skied up to her and like super happy to see her. I gave her a hug and a kiss, unknowing that there was like a camera like fixed on Maya the whole time. And it was like some media outlet in Sweden, and then they like contacted Swedish team. They're like, yeah, we're gonna leak this video, and like this is really bad, and turned into like this whole debacle. And the Swedish team was super pissed and almost sent Maya home from champs. And it was like, I was like, what's going on here? Like, I didn't care. Like, kind of the US team was like, obviously we cared and like COVID stuff, but it was like, come on, like they're quarantined, we're quarantined. Like, yeah, it was just, yeah, it was fun. It was unique. She hated it. I laugh at it. She doesn't. So it's kind of fun.
so when did you start living over there?
Kind of just like straight from then. Yeah, we met that 21 season, 21, 22, and then from then it just kind of yeah, juggling the visa stuff in 90 days. I tried to be over in Sweden as much as I could be with her. Um, So yeah, I haven't really spent, that much time back in the US um in a while. I had racing Spring Series this last year was the first time I'd raced domestically in a long time. Um and that's not, anything against racing domestically or never going back for stuff. It was just like kind of the path I decided as a skier to take transitioned over here, and just kind of the decisions I've made racing wise have just kept me here and been able to stay, luckily, because of, visa stuff and racing well and stuff like that. But it's been fun. I mean, it's been a tough transition, of course. I miss being home. I miss being up north in the summers and living the lake life and all that stuff. I mean, that's we're going back in a few weeks, and I'm so excited. I can't wait.
So what is your transition? Because obviously it's different over there, like early season racing in November, December, and getting ready for World Cup and training has got to be different too. How does that differ from the US?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because I think we're pretty lucky in a way that the US team picks World Cup starts. Like we found out like 2 days ago. So like now I get to go into like the Swedish openers totally relaxed, like just some races. But like for these guys over here, I mean, like you go into their opening season races and it's like it's high stress. I mean, there's a lot on the line for these guys racing, and which is kind of fun because I'm there like excited to race and train and use them as races, but these guys are like it's a big deal. And I kind of reflect back to when we used to start the season in like West Yellowstone. Um, that doesn't I don't think those races happen anymore. But it's kind of the same vibe, and I can kind of remember that yeah, those first races of the season are always just scary. I mean, testing things out, and it always feels like if the first race goes bad, that the season's over, that opportunities just start fading away. But that's just so far from the truth, from what I've learned.
Do you like racing the Swedish openers and those early season races?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's nice because you know that the level there it's high. I mean, like a lot of those guys that are racing well there are going to race well in the World Cup. Um, so regardless of whether it's using the race to facilitate some training that you've been doing, or if you're racing to throw them down, like a good result there definitely makes you feel good. And so yeah.
Nice. So transitioning back, um, every athlete at some point in their career has a season or moment that has challenged them. So I was wondering if you had any moments like those and how did you get through those?
Yeah, had a few. I'd say, the season I got my frostbite in college, that sucked, but things worked out. But this last season, missing out on the Olympics, kind of missing out on like my first major championship team of my career. Um, it was tough, but I mean, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's you learn so much from it. I wish maybe I had done things differently, but at the same time, I don't. And just coming back from it, for me, missing out on like the Olympic team, it sucked. And for those few days, weeks, allowing yourself or myself to be in a deep, dark, terrible place, I think it's good, it's okay. But then somehow trying to figure out how to flip the script for me, and that was trying to go to my family's cabin, watch the races, train my ass off, and try to capitalize on the finishing part of the World Cup season. Um, so I think just in general, like for anything that sets you back in your skiing career or team you miss out on, like I think it's fine to, yeah, like I said, fine to feel really shitty about it and accept it, absorb it, but also find the silver lining and figure out a way to make it work in your advantage. Um, And that was, yeah, for me to be like, all right, these guys are going to go to the Olympics. They're going to do an awesome time, like awesome races. I'm super fired up. Can't wait to watch. But also, like when we get back to the World Cup, like they're going to be down there getting ready for those races. I'm going to be here training, and I'm going to try to just kick all their asses, and
Right.
that was my motivation. So just trying to, yeah, like I said, flip the script and whatever it is, and just know that, yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, and you got to take time to get back.
So I'm not sure if this kind of goes off that or if that your answer kind of also answers this, but when things aren't clicking, whether it's um, injury, sickness, just a lull of bad racing, what advice would you give to younger skiers to try and keep them motivated?
There's so much time in a year, so much time in the season. Like, I mean, whether you're getting, yeah, I know you just were injured. I don't know if you're still coming back from it or where you are in your recovery. I mean, but whether it's now, the beginning of the summer, middle of the summer, end of the summer, middle of the winter, that like, regardless on where you are with that setback, there's still so much more time than you think there is to like find that shape and find that those little details in your fitness. Um, there's so many times where, yeah, you get a little scratchy throat in the winter, and you just like think, yeah, the weekend's over, like this sucks, like I'm gonna lose everything. But it's just like so far from the truth. And every season I need to remind myself of that, and I've been doing it for a really long time. That Yeah, there's so much time, and it's not all about, you know, getting in one or two great sessions here or there to like make you great. It's just like stacking, you're sick for a week, you're injured for a month or whatever. Just like start stacking just good ass training days on top of each other, and like things are going to come back. Um, from now until the beginning of the season, there's so much time. And during the winter, like having a bad World Cup race and thinking that you're not going to make, the tour or the next period, it's like, yeah, there's just so much time that doesn't at the time it doesn't feel like it, but there is a lot of time to figure out how to get back in shape. And yeah, the shape doesn't just disappear overnight.
So if an athlete were to be in the early season December races or in January and they were to feel a scratchy throat or they were to get sick, you've had a lot of experience, I assume, with how long of a career you've had. What is your go-to protocol to getting back to 100% or getting on top of staying healthy?
Yeah, I think that a lot of skiers, that you feel something, you feel that little tickle that one morning and you're like, nah, it's nothing. Like I'm gonna go do something. I'll go train and see what happens. And I've did that enough in my career where you're like that little something always leads to something. So now anytime I feel anything, it's just like pull the plug, like just rest. Um, and I think that stems from a little bit of like Maya and like the Swedes being super cautious with sickness. And also now I work with a Norwegian coach and he's the same way, just super cautious with how your body's feeling. So protocol is just pull the plug and rest. Um, no real medicine or anything that I go to as a go-to, but just sleeping as much as I can and drinking as much water as I can. It's boring, it sucks, but usually the sooner you can pull the plug and recognize that you're just sick, the better. Because if you start like training into it, then you're screwed. And then if you start a little bit too early, at the tail end of it, like, and then it comes back again. So it's just like making sure it is gone before you start doing anything. And then when I do start coming back from sickness, protocol is generally like go for a walk. Yeah, the walk felt pretty normal today, like no weird sweats or heart rate jump. And then the next day it's maybe a run, 30 minutes. See how that goes. It's like pretty small and cautious to come back.
Don't jump
And
right into it.
of course, like I think if it's like around maybe a championship or something, maybe you got to be a little bit, maybe you got to push it a little bit. But other than that, just like being cautious because, like I said, like midwinter sickness, like your shape isn't just gone. Um, the hay's in the barn. So just rest and it's going to come back. No stress. But it's hard to not stress.
It's really
That's
hard.
so hard not to stress. I mean, you're laying there watching like I don't know, you're just ripping through some season on Netflix or something, and then your mind just starts going down a dark hole, like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I'm screwed. Like, season's over. Like, this sucks. But promise you, it is not.
Yeah, you gotta like every time I've gotten sick, it's always like I'll still be watching the World Cup. So then I'm like laying in bed or I'm on the couch and I'm like, God, oh,
Yeah,
I just want to ski. Or I can look
yeah,
outside, look at the weather. I'm like, oh, I just no, you got to keep reminding yourself like you got to be smart. Don't be dumb. Just take it easy and your body will figure it out, but you got to let it figure it out.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's no stress. No stress.
Right. So, kind of winding this down, two more questions. As you look forward to the upcoming season, what does your training look like? And what are some goals you've got going into the new racing season?
I feel like the whole ski world now is on the double threshold. Especially maybe, I don't know, at our level for sure. So I've definitely been sprinkling that a lot more into my training this year, which has been sweet. Been feeling really good about it, and but nothing too crazy new. I mean, um, just smashing really easy hours on the easy days, and when you hit the intervals on my double interval threshold days, and just super controlled. And um, I wish it was more down scientifically fun, blah 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 like that, but it's really not.
How many hours are you doing this year?
It's a good question. I'll probably be pushing around the 800 mark. That's kind of where I was last year, and the year before, and it worked well. So really, all I'm doing is adding a threshold session and taking away some strength. So it shouldn't really shift so much. But with the big real focus on being Falun World Championships. So I mean, I've said it probably for the last 2 years that it's like, yeah, it's probably my last season, probably my last season. Maya says I've said it for the last like 5 years, but like I think this for sure is my last season. Um, and it feels like super good saying it and recognizing that, and makes, the goals even, yeah, more fun to try to reach. Just knowing that this is it, and makes every training day that much more fun, and try to enjoy everything that much more because you realize that this life's pretty good. Um, but that's, yeah, following champs is kind of like just the biggest goal for me going forward, and just finishing the season with as Aaron Rodgers said, just kind of finishing the season with a lot of love. This is
Right.
it.
Finish
So
it your home away from home in Sweden.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm back racing U.S. Nationals and cable this year, which would be also like super fun and full circle. Like, done plenty of racing there growing up, and Quarterlope and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, there'll be a lot of full circle moments, which I'm super excited about.
And you'll be racing with Snow Racing domestically if you're in the US this next winter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which will be super fun. I'm excited about it. I think it's a fun name change. Although I've
Nice.
tried to explain it to some of the Norwegian guys over here that I'm training with here and there, and they're like, "Why do you guys want to be Snow?" Like, I was like, "Yeah, but it's unique in the US, like the word." And they're like, "Yeah, but it's snow." I'm like, "Yeah, you don't get it. It's fine. It's okay."
Yeah. So to wrap things up, if a high school or college skier has aspirations of skiing professionally one day, what would your advice be?
Trust yourself, stay on the path. I mean, do what you love. Everything doesn't happen overnight. Trust the process. And as corny as it sounds, you got to have fun. It's always come back to that, and I'm sure other people do too. But it's always that if you're not having fun, don't do it. And it's crazy how much that's true. And I think as long as you're having fun with whatever you're doing, you're gonna go far.
Well, I really appreciate that. That's a great piece of advice, and I really appreciate your time. And this has been awesome talking with you. And there's been a lot of great, information, knowledge, and reflection on your career shared here. And I just want to say I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks you. Yeah, thank you. I'm probably rambled a bit. I mean, I'm getting old, so the brain's getting mushy, and but it's been fun. Super psyched.
Well, tell Maya I say hello, and if it ever works out, we'd love to get her on the podcast on the channel too. That'd be super cool to venture out just from the US. But yeah, thank you for your time, and we'll talk to you later.
I think most importantly, we got to get Maya on that wall behind you. Jeez.
I think you guys are both next to each other up here.
Oh, geez. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. That's awesome.
They got a lot of posters up here. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
you guys are next to each other. I figured that, makes sense. So
We're with each other enough.
yeah. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Cole. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Cole Myrick Ski Podcast. A huge thank you to Kevin Bolger for taking the time to share his experiences, stories, and advice. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and leave a rating or review. It really helps more people discover the show. You can also follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Cole Myrick Ski for more training content, race coverage, and future podcast episodes. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next conversation.